Greetings. What's new? Yeah, what's new? Well, let me see. Okay, Kilauea is still actively erupting, and so if there are folks out there who haven't seen the lava, there's quite a lake. It looks pretty good. That's new, or at least it's still ongoing. Unfortunately, I recently dropped the speed limit in Mountain View from 45 down to 35. Now they got signs posted up out there that they're going to go ahead and they're going to drop it to 35 all the way into Curtistown and beyond. They already dropped it to 35 in Keau. So it means all the way from Mountain View, at least all the way past 130, you're going to be doing 35 miles an hour. I don't know whose idea this was. Don't ask me. But if anybody knows the people responsible, you might want to talk to them about it. I know the last time they wanted to raise the speed limit around here or do something with the speed limit, they actually asked. I suppose I don't live on the road, so they didn't ask me. Here they did, and I told them raise the speed limit on South Kapua from 25 to 35 because nobody was doing 25 anyway, so why bother, you know? It's going to be the same thing here. People are going to have a very difficult time maintaining that 35 miles an hour, especially going down in the mountain. End up riding your brakes. The one gas car I got left here is a heavy beast, and that thing rolls downhill here at 45 miles an hour. I've gotten tickets for it before when I wasn't watching, and just kind of crept up as she was going down the mountain. It's going to be hard. So that's new, and I don't think it's too good. Otherwise, well, they came forward and said they're going to do her this time. They're going to legalize recreational cannabis and join the other 21 states out there that got the wild weed. But, well, we'll see if it works out. I know I already had words with my representative here about seeing that they allow for cultivation in a garden by all people of age, 21 and over, right? Because they don't want the people that are 21 smoking the stuff. But, people who are of age, a lot of the other states can't do that. They made this thing like it was distillation, like it was booze, whereas cannabis, it's really just a plant, but if they're going to class it as a drug, which, it is, it should be under the same rules as beer and wine. Yeah, that we can all make it up to a certain point, won't need any special permits to do that, and so on. Distillation's another story, and that's the way it's being treated in a lot of places. Illinois, you can't grow cannabis in your garden. You can buy it in a store, but you can't grow it in your garden. Well, most states it's without medical permits. If you have a medical permit, they let you grow the stuff. Only the sick are allowed to garden. Yeah. So that was new. I just finished up digging sweet potatoes out here with Kevin. We got baskets and baskets of sweet potatoes. I was looking for volunteers out there for people to come get potatoes back all the way back to Thanksgiving. I was going to give them away, but I didn't get any response. I guess everybody's got too many sweet potatoes. So we finally got around to it. I was getting weedy, and you can't leave sweet potatoes in the ground around here. I myself at one time was mistaken in thinking that they would grow as perennials, and they do grow as perennials here, but you don't want to do that because if you allow sweet potatoes to persist in sight for too long, well, one, bring every rat in the neighborhood in. The rats love sweet potatoes, and so my advice is put the crop in, grow the crop up, get the crop out, fight off the rats in the meantime, and don't leave it out there permanently so they got a home to live in. I found a few potatoes that were hollowed out all the way down and a few holes where there might have been potatoes at one point where the rats went under there, and they tunneled right into them. They eat every bite, every piece. Yeah, just and they eat the whole potato. Also the whiteflies. The whiteflies love the foliage. Ooh. And I mean, whiteflies are bad on, peppers or tomatoes, eggplants, various different crops that we like to grow. And if you have sweet potato out there hanging around from year to year, you also have nice crops of whiteflies hanging out from year to year. I find it's advantageous to pull out all the peppers if I can, pull out all the potatoes periodically, just to be able to reduce the amount of whitefly that's overwintering or hanging out in my landscape. Well, the mainland, especially the West Coast, is getting doused. Water, snow, water, snow, water, snow, rain, snow, rain, snow. It's looking like ordinarily we have these low pressure cold fronts that go across the top of the island chain here, kind of brushing Kauai and Oahu. And they usually will come in and they run close enough to the top of the chain that they'll usually bring in moisture in at least the upper 2 or 3 islands, but it generally manages to wrap around, and we got it down here too. Well, that isn't happening anymore. This occurred last year too. That the low pressure systems, the cold fronts, they're going across out there in the Pacific, but they're at a higher latitude. They're maybe up around 30 or so latitude, and sweeping across over there, and they're completely missing Hawaii. It's missing us completely. It's actually creating a weather vacuum almost out here. The last time we had any weather to speak of, it was actually drawn up from the equator. We got it from down south, and did it have the lightning and the thunder and the lightning that we don't usually get much of here. Boy, it went on for several days. Boom, 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 boom. And we only really get that thunder and lightning when it's equatorial. When it's all sweeping up from down south. So if the last systems we had were actually the ones that usually ran along the equator, and now the systems that we would ordinarily get some rainfall from are running to the north and going straight into the mainland, it looks like the entire thing has shifted to the north. The equatorial weather had moved up this way, and the more temperate storms had moved away from our latitude, so that they're not affecting us anymore. It's now going on. We're at 25 days since the last drop of rain I had here. We ordinarily get 150 inches a year. Historically, it used to rain here almost every evening. We got rain just about every day. Well, not anymore. My nursery is so dry, I'm fighting daily, sometimes having to water twice to keep the water in the pots, having problems with the soil mix being dry enough that it's hydrophobic and it's shedding the water and not penetrating. Watering the nursery, because everything's in containers, is not too unusual, although it's been going on for a while now. But I've been watering out in the ground in the vegetable garden. I watered my cabbage, broccoli, and onions and leeks the other day twice in the last week time. That's pretty unheard of. I have soil, and we generally hold enough moisture out here between rains. If anything, my problem is usually the reverse. I can get root rots and things because I can get a little bit too wet. Well, that ain't happening either. I have seen it drier than this here. It has been drier in the past. We've had it where the soil was all cracked. The soil isn't cracking yet, but the soil is crumbling. I don't have any stickiness practically anywhere unless you crawl under the back of a tree and under, in a ditch or something, you can find wet soil. But out in most places where the plants grow, it's crumbly and dry. Gracie's definitely working herself here into the family. The gray cat that wandered in a while back. Cats tend to when they're hurt, they'll run away. They hide. Even you can call them, they still won't come out a lot of times. Well, with Gracie, it's gotten to the point where she's getting to trust me so much that this morning we had an accident getting in the door. We both tried to get in the same time, and she got stepped on. It wasn't real bad, but I might have stepped on the tip of her tail or on her paw or something. I don't know. Anyway, meow! And she scats off. She's going to go run away and hide someplace. And I stopped, and I bent down. I said, "Oh, Gracie, I'm really sorry. Come here, girl." Well, darn it, instead of running off and hiding, she stopped. She walked over and she sat on the mat where she usually gets brushed. She looked up at me and says, "I know you didn't mean it." And it was just a clumsy thing, right? She's getting to the point where I can actually console her. Ellen did this the other day too. If she gets stepped on, instead of hiding, until she gets over it, she'll come to us. The bond's got to be getting pretty strong, because running away and hiding when they're hurt is a very instinctive thing for a cat to do. It's just normal, and so for her to turn around on that, to realize that the pain wasn't intentional, kind of special. Well, let's see now. Well, from where I can see here, that's about the only thing I've spotted that was worth talking about that might be new. There's a lot out there. You all know that. But that'd be about good enough for now. I got to go check what I got in the oven. Aloha. Y'all hang loose, folks.